let's talk about the Brooklyn Nets a little bit. KD and Kyrie was going to be the next dynamic duo in the NBA. What the hell happened? I think it's really funny that LeBron played a Drew League game the other day, and it was like the biggest headline of the basketball season in the last week. This guy just got to play basketball against a bunch of non-NBA players, and everyone lost their minds because he got 42 points. But the funniest thing for me about this was the fact that Kyrie Irving just didn't show up. Like, it was going to be LeBron and Kyrie and DeMar. And the Drew League commissioner or whatever was just like, yeah, I don't know what happened. I mean, he was supposed to be here. This has got to be the most unreliable basketball player to ever exist. And the Brooklyn Nets, they're an abomination. They traded, yes, an aging James Harden, a post-prime James Harden, for a player that doesn't even play. Like, is Ben 10 going to suit up? I want to see Ben 10 with KD and Kyrie. I just want to see it. I'm curious. You know, they got TJ Warren now. I don't think they have a big man. They don't have a coach. Phoenix is not making a trade with the Brooklyn Nets now that they have DeAndre Ayton signed on. They can't trade him until January. So if that's going to happen, it's not going to happen until the trade deadline. I mean, we all thought KD was going to be on another team by now. The rumors seem to have died down, but I'm sure he still wants to get out of there. I mean, the Drew League commish doesn't know where Kyrie is. I don't think the Brooklyn Nets know where Kyrie is. It's a complete disaster. And you got Lakers fans thinking now they're going to get Kyrie and they're going to just give up Russell Westbrook and get Kyrie Irving. Right. A package of Westbrook and THT should get the job done. Westbrook and THT for Kyrie? Seriously, Lakers fans, just stop deluding yourselves. It's going to be Westbrook and LeBron running it back. I mean, that's a dynamic duo. Those guys, like, we only got to see it for 1 year. We got to see it again. All jokes aside, I do think Darvin Ham is actually well equipped to turn this team around from what little I've seen. In the way that he really cares about Russell Westbrook's role with the team. But then again, I did see an article about we want Westbrook playing more off-ball, playing defense. And Westbrook's basically just like, you want me to be a role player? I'm Mr. Triple-Double. I'm one of the greatest point guards of all time. I'm Russell Westbrook. I averaged 22, 12, and 12 a year ago. Y'all got me fucked up. That's what he's thinking. And this is why it's never going to work. And never was going to work. Lakers got too greedy. Felt like they had to just chase stars, chase big names, because Kentavious Caldwell-Pope and Alex Caruso, Kyle Kuzma weren't putting up the numbers they wanted. Trade their whole team for a guy that absolutely does not fit at all. You put yourself in this position. Shout out the Lakers and Nets for completely botching championship caliber teams, being the two championship favorites going into last season, and neither of those teams won a playoff game this year. So shout out to them. Shout out Kevin Durant. I think at this point, KD knows that he's just gotten himself into a situation that is a complete disaster, like I've been saying. Kyrie is completely off the rails, and you got Ben Simmons out here. I actually think this team could be really good if everybody was playing. Is Ben Simmons going to play? Ben Simmons needs to get his ass suited up, and this team can win some games. Ben Simmons should play center, point center. Then you got a team. I want to touch on the Golden State Warriors a little bit because they won their 4th championship in the last, so what is it, 7 years? I mean, these guys really building a dynasty here. And more importantly, they made me a few $100s. So I like where their priorities are at. You know, it's just something that I have to respect. Even though I don't necessarily root for them. I certainly was not rooting for them when they had KD. I don't actually really count those. It's cool. Steph Curry is an amazingly great player. I think that's all that it says. I mean, it was so easy for them to win rings with KD. I was really impressed this year. I didn't think they had it. I didn't think that Steph Curry with this team could put on the display that he did as a solo act. He has essential players around him. It's definitely a system. But you take Steph Curry out, who's their guy? Who's the go-to guy? There isn't a go-to guy. It's a system. And a system without a guy is not winning a game in the NBA Finals against the Boston Celtics team like that. I don't care how much experience they have. Steph Curry is your 30 points a game guy. He is the one. You build the team around that guy. He will take you to the promised land, and that's exactly what he did. So I think it's really interesting about the Golden State Warriors. They decided to have all these young players on their team and not trade them at the deadline last year because clearly they were looking to contend for an NBA title, and they could have moved off of a James Wiseman, a Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody, etc., and add another piece that it was a solid rotation guy. I'm thinking maybe a Jeremy Grant, or maybe even a better player than that, but just a guy that could contribute on the defensive end and knock down perimeter shots. Just only help your team be better for a playoff scenario. Because Jonathan Kuminga didn't really play in the playoffs. He played a little bit, didn't play in the finals in any meaningful minutes at all, and didn't really play many meaningful minutes at all throughout the entire playoffs. And I mean, Moses Moody and James Wiseman not even healthy. I said before the season, I don't think the Warriors could win a championship with James Wiseman not being featured as their starting center, because Kevon Looney's not good enough to win a championship as a starting five. And I was wrong. Clearly, there are a variety of ways that you can win an NBA championship. There are a lot of reasons you can attribute to why they were able to mesh so well. Obviously, they have the experience. Steve Kerr is there, and the system is there and is intact, and Draymond is a shell of what he used to be, but he's still functional, especially on the defensive end. Jordan Poole's development has been absolutely tremendous. It was a championship or bust. How could you not trade these young players for an experienced role guy that would have helped your team, given you a better chance to win, even a borderline star player maybe? This is a lot of value right here. I mean, Jonathan Kuminga, 7th overall pick, right? James Wiseman, 2nd overall pick. A bad team could use that. Some of these bad teams are starving for draft picks. You see how much guys are being traded for now. So very interesting that the Warriors just didn't decide to move off these guys, and they still can. James Wiseman's value is certainly decreased. He's playing in Summer League. He doesn't really look like a great NBA player in Summer League. He didn't play that much. But I think you just got to be patient. If we should have learned anything from the Joel Embiid situation, it's the fact that it's a process. Development, change doesn't happen overnight. James Wiseman, let's see what's going on in 2 years. The point that I make before, though, is that I didn't think the Golden State Warriors had 2 years. And still do they have 2 years? How long is their window really open? Steph Curry is playing as good as he's ever played. So maybe you do have a few years. But I think preferably you'd like to build that up for a player that you can use right now. James Wiseman, is he really even going to play that much next year? I don't know. I think it's a very interesting question. Obviously, I don't think the world really knows that answer nearly to the degree that the Warriors do. The Warriors, they just seem like an inside the net organization. Everything's airtight. They know what they're doing. They know how they're going to look in a year. They know how these guys are progressing, even if the world doesn't.